I'm so excited to welcome you all to Happy Go Lucky at Heart podcast. I have a mission to support others with undiagnosed autism to get a diagnosis because my mum fought a long battle. But please don't go, because this podcast is for absolutely everybody, especially mental health too. And I mean everybody, because I will share with you lots of unique yet personal stories from all age groups. So please meet your host, Vicky Kidson, otherwise known as me. Buckle up, because it's going to be a long mission. So enjoy and live life to the full. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about what does violence against women and girls and what does it look like. I've been doing 16 days of activism with UN Women UK, and 5 women every hour. That's how many women and girls are killed by someone in their family. Let's stop this clock and take action to end violence against women and girls. Unconscious is not consent. Let's firstly talk about the signs of abuse. So you receive harassing messages from your partner. They may seem afraid or are anxious to please their partner and even keep conversations a secret, have limited or no access to finances or decision making, and show changes in personality, behaviour or physical appearance. Usually witnessing toxicity, you may pick up on imitating actions and do it to others yourself. And you may stop taking care of mental, emotional and physical needs. If you're worried about a friend who is being abused or feels unsafe, you must stay in touch. Ask your friend about the best way to contact them, as they may feel unsafe on social media. Be supportive, reassure your friend they are not alone. Help make a plan, find a creative way to get them through this time safely. Share resources, let your friend know local helplines. Let them be in charge, ask their consent before doing anything on their behalf. Let's talk about the definition of consent. There is no excuse for sexual violence. There is no blurred lines when it comes to consent. It's agreement between participants to engage in sexual activity or enter into marriage. It must be freely and actively given and cannot be provided by someone who is under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or by someone underage. Consent is distinct, meaning that the consent to one act does not apply consent to any others, and is reversible, meaning that it may be revoked at any time. Moving on to sexual violence. Any sexual act committed against the will of another person, either when the person does not give consent or when consent cannot be given because the person is a child, has a mental disability, or is severely intoxicated or unconscious as a result of alcohol or drugs. So that brings me on to the subject of sexual harassment. So it's sexual violence that encompasses non-consensual physical contact, like grabbing, pinching, slapping or rubbing against another person in a sexual way. Non-physical forms of sexual violence such as catcalls, sexual comments about person's body or appearance, demands for sexual favours, sexual suggestive staring, stalking and exposing one's sex organs. So let's talk about rape culture, the social environment that allows sexual violence to be normalised and justified. The culture that is rooted in patriarchy and fueled by persistent gender inequalities and biases about gender and sexuality. And don't forgetting the corrective rape. Lesbian, bisexual, trans women and gender diverse people do not need to be cured. Demands on end to all sexual violence against the LGBTQI plus community, a violation of human rights perpetrated against lesbian, bisexual, trans women and gender diverse people under the false premise of curing them. LGBTQI plus people who have experienced the coercive, inhumane and degrading practice of punitive rape. often face challenges accessing psychosocial support, healthcare, and access to justice. Let me just say, abuse isn't always physical and it doesn't always leave visible scars. Examples of sexist phrases: women can't do anything, she's just a girl, you're not even pretty, I never wanted a daughter, you can't wear that, you need to lose some weight or you'd never find somebody, don't be such a woman, you're useless, is just a few sample phrases that you might come across in your daily walk or from family or friends. The meaning of femicide is the international murder of women because they are women, but maybe defined more broadly to include any killings of women or girls. Femicide differs from male homicide in particular ways. For example, most of femicide are committed by partners or ex-partners and involve ongoing abuse in the home, threats or intimidation, sexual violence, or situations where women have less power or fewer resources than their partner. And gender-based violence is harmful acts directed at an individual or a group of individuals based on their gender. It is rooted in gender inequality, the abuse of power, and harmful norms. The term primarily used to underscore the fact that structural gender-based power differentials place women and girls at risk for multiple forms of violence. The term used to describe target violence against LGBTQI+ populations when violence related to norms of masculinity and femininity and or gender norms. As I said earlier, abuse isn't always physical, and emotional violence is a type of violence that includes undermining a person's sense of self-worth through constant criticism, belittling one's ability, name-calling, or other verbal abuse, damaging a partner's relationship with the children, or not letting a partner see friends and family. And the difference, psychological violence is a type of violence that involves causing fear by intimidation, threatening physical harm to self, partner, or children, destruction of pets and property, mind games, or forcing isolation from friends, family, and work. Economic violence is making or attempting to make a person financially dependent by maintaining total control over financial resources, withholding access to money, and or forbidding attendance at school or employment. And lastly, domestic violence, any pattern of behaviour that is used to gain or maintain power and control over and intimidate a partner, encompasses all physical, sexual, emotional, economical, and psychological actions or threats of actions that influence another person, one of the most common forms of violence experienced by women globally. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and please sponsor me and buy me a coffee in the link below in the show notes. Thank you. Bye. See you next time. Love yous. Yet another wonderful interview. Much obliged for you to stay and listen to Happy Go Lucky at Heart podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please keep on boasting about it to your friends and family. And if you have any spare time, please help an independent podcaster get known. So please leave a 5-star review on whichever podcast platform you listen on, and click the link in the show notes for many more ways to connect with me. Bye! Mwah.